Hi there, it's Mrs. Drake with the trumpet, and we're going to be doing lesson 17. I hope you've already warmed up on your scale, and let's take a look at number one. Number one uses that eighth note, eighth rest that we learned back on lesson 15, I think it was. Yeah, lesson 15. So consider it like a TT, but there's a rest. First note you play on the second leg of the T is a silent beat. So song one would be T, 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 T. So clip them kind of short. Clip them kind of short to leave room for that little eighth rest. It looks kind of like a demented seven. Okay, so on song number one, also would you notice in measure 5, some of the notes have dots under them. And that is called staccato. And that means to clip it short. So it ends up, measure 1 has the same sound as measure 5. This one is drawn with eighth note and eighth rest. This one is drawn with staccato. But the sound of it should be the same. So measure 1 should sound the same as measure 5. Measure 2 should sound like measure 6. Okay? And it's just drawn in two different styles. So measure 1 equals measure 5. I'm just going to write that down. Okay. And then 3 is like 7, and 4, yeah. And 4 is like 8. So it'll sound like you're playing the first two measures twice. Okay, everybody, warm up the beginning of song 1. Okay, song number 1. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, song number 2 goes up to high C. Hope you remember high C is no fingers. Notice there's a B flat key signature. So all the B's are going to have to be played with first finger B flat. And there's a bunch of B's in this song. Okay? There are a few slurs. Remember the first time playing it, if you want to leave off the slur, it does make it easier. There are some of those staccato dots. I'm not going to be picky about that. I feel it's icing on the cake. Just try to get a good tone. And try to get the right fingers in the right rhythm. Don't worry about the staccato. I would like you to try the slurs. If you think you can handle the slurs, try that. But don't worry about those dotted staccato short notes. Okay, song 2, warm up the first two notes. Song 2, 1, 2, ready. Sorry, I'm losing my tone sometimes. I'm really having trouble with my lips. Okay, song number 3 has a bunch of slurs. Again, feel free to leave off the slurs at first. Song 3 has no key signature, so the B's are going to be middle finger B's. Do you trust yourself to remember it? If you don't, feel free to draw a 2 or a natural sign on the B's. It's always okay to write yourself a reminder. You got to know your own brain. Are you good at remembering stuff, or do you need to write reminders? Okay, song number 3. I'm going to do the slurs. Remember, you can leave them off, especially if it's your first time playing it. Warm up the beginning of song 3. Okay, song number 3. 1, 2, ready. Okay, song 4. Lots of rests in song 4, so you got to be mindful. There is a slur. Again, don't feel picky about doing those staccato dots. Song 4, warm up the beginning. Okay, song 4, watch out for all the rests. 1, 2, ready, go. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Tricky. Okay, song 5 is called Lightly Row. It's kind of a popular melody. You might recognize it. Again, I'm going to do the slurs. If you want to leave off the slurs, go ahead. But eventually, I hope you can get the slurs. Everybody warm up the beginning of number 5. Okay, song 5. 1, 2, ready. It's a beautiful melody. Okay, the last one is called Circus March. Circus March. Reminder that the last song on every lesson has a recording that goes with it. So when you feel like you have Circus March mastered, I recommend that you find that recording that I sent you and try to play with the recording. All right, so let's take a look. B flat key signature, and there are some B's in it, like I'm noticing measure 7. There's a bunch of B's, so there's going to be first finger. Do you trust yourself to remember? If you think you might forget, feel free to draw a flat sign or the number 1 to remind yourself it's B flats. Take a look. There is some F sharps, like in measure 5. I want to remind you, F sharp is middle finger. Do you need to write a 2 over that one? Okay, and there are some more F sharps. So there's both regular Fs, which would be called F natural, and F sharp. So there's F sharps and F naturals both in this song. Okay, look at measure 20. Jump your eyes down to measure 20, and it goes up to high D. I don't think we've ever even learned high D. High D is going to be first finger, but you blow it with firm corners of your lips and blow it with a lot of power to make it pop out extra high. It's called high D. So look at measure 20. Measure 20 is rest. A, A, D, C. So you might want to draw a number 1 over that high D because it's going to be first finger. It also comes in measure 22. Do you guys notice? Everybody please notice in measure 22 there's another high D. And do you see that in measure 22 it's B natural? Feel free, and I don't know if you can see it well enough, but sometimes I write the fingers above it. It's totally okay to write the fingers above it. Do it in pencil. As you get more experience, maybe you won't have to do it as often, but it's better than playing a wrong note. It's better than playing a wrong note. Okay, so that one is high D. Also notice DSL fine. DSL fine means to return to that kind of demented dollar sign. So I've used highlighter to make it bright in my music. So you play through the whole thing, you lead back to the del segno, that's that demented dollar sign, and then you play along and stop at the word fine. Do you see fine is down here? So it ends up being a pretty long song. It actually ends up being a pretty long song. A lot of things to remember, it's complicated. Okay, alrighty. So what I'm going to do, because this is kind of strange, but my lips are hurting me a bit, so I'm not going to play trumpet on Circus March. I'm going to play the flute. But it should sound fine with you playing your trumpet. It should match each other very nicely. So on Circus March, I am going to be playing it on the flute, but realize you can play it on the trumpet and it should sound fine just together. Okay, Circus March starts with 7 beats of rest. On the recording, I think it's drums. I think it starts with a drum solo. So to lead off Circus March, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and then you jump in with the ti-ti-ta. So everybody warm up the beginning of Circus March. It should match that flute tone. Okay, it ends up being a pretty long song. Okay, I'm going to lead it off with 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. it been kind of long? I hope you could play along with the flute. I know it's a little bit weird, but I know my lips wouldn't have been able to handle it, and flute is easier for me. Okay, so that was lesson 17.